what does your business look like now?
We're crushing it doing 6-figure months with a smaller team.
Okay.
And so that's what's interesting. If you build it out right, you can do the same numbers, but with a higher profit margin.
Yep.
If you have the right people. I love this podcast with you, dude, because we get into the faith.
Yeah.
We get into the business strategy. We get analytical with it. We give actionable information.
Welcome to the Brian Davilla Show, the #1 podcast for flippers, wholesalers, and real estate entrepreneurs. And today on the podcast, we're on a field trip. We're in Arizona, and I have a master of wholesaling real estate. He has mastered cold calling. He started making crazy money at 16 years old, and now we're in his office. Jacob Blank.
Thanks
How
for
are you,
having
baby?
me, bro. Doing great.
Yeah.
Glad you're here.
Yeah.
It was a way to get here.
I
Flat
know.
tire.
I got a flat tire. It was just a whole show to get here.
Yeah,
But
4-hour drive, but you made it. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, for sure.
This is awesome.
I'm on we do a road trip every year, so me and Justin. Last year we came here, we did Zaybak, Carlos, Zolan, Novation King, and a couple other guys.
Yeah.
This time we're doing you, Zaybak, Jeremy Miner, and then Brandon Dawson from Cardone Ventures. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
I gotta start. I mean, for you, Arizona's the place to go. So
I know.
I'm starting to do a podcast. I'm gonna just have everybody in town
Exactly.
pull up to my office. It's easy for me. I don't gotta drive and get a flat.
Exactly.
To make it happen.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it's sweet that you do these podcast tours. And I had so much fun with our last conversation that we had on the podcast. So thanks for having me back.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I wanted to have you on because I know you're legit. We're literally sitting in your office right now. You have a weight bench and stuff back there. We might show it in a clip or something. But yeah, I guess for people that don't know who you are, can you give us your quick intro before we get into real estate?
Yeah, so I'm Jacob Blank. I got started in wholesaling real estate at the young age of 16 years old. It's crazy, right? Not a lot of people. There's a lot more people now that are that young starting, but I was really the youngest in the game to ever do it. I got started at 16, and in just 2 years, by the age of 18, I was a millionaire from wholesaling real estate. Wholesaling real estate completely changed my life. Since then, I'm now 22 years old. I've been able to do over $1 million in revenue every single year in my wholesaling real estate business, and I just keep scaling and reaching for new heights. Wholesaling real estate has completely blessed me in every way, shape, and form. I get to work when I want, with who I want, where I want, doing what I want, and that is what's so special about being an entrepreneur, because in a lot of other things you got to clock in, you got to answer to the boss, right? But I got to be my own boss at a young age. Never went to college. I was just telling you how I didn't even take the SATs. I didn't even take the test because I just knew I wasn't going to go because I was already making a lot of money before it was even time to go to college. So I just said no to the tests. I don't care about the scores. I'm smart enough to go out there and make it happen. And
hell yeah,
that's what I did.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I like having people like you on. And for first-time listeners, make sure to subscribe because we get literally the best flippers and wholesalers across the country, and you get to learn for free. But couple things. One, I've had a mentee that was younger than you.
Really?
I actually had a mentee. I think he was 15 years old.
Wow.
He wasn't old enough to sign a contract.
Yep.
Someone else signed it for him, and he ended up I think he bought a house sub-2 and wholesaled before he was 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what does your business look like now?
Yeah, so what does my business look like now? So at the peak of my business back in 2022, when the hedge fund craze was going on and we were selling all the deals to hedge fund, my business was actually scaled out more than it is now. And I'm actually scaling it out in a way now that's more profitable.
Yeah.
So at the peak of my business, I had 9 sales guys, 1 dispo, and then a girl that was an admin / TC. And now I have 5 sales guys. I trimmed all the fat, got rid of the B players, C players. I'm trying to only have A players in here. So I have 5 amazing sales guys, 1 dispo that's absolutely crushing it, and then I have a full-time video guy for my personal brand stuff. So that's what my company looks like. We're here in my North Scottsdale, Arizona office. I'm actually planning on, you're from California, I'm thinking about possibly opening up another office in Irvine, which Irvine's the cleanest city in America, one of the cleanest cities in America. So a lot of big tech companies and a lot of big companies are moving there. And so I'm excited for that and the future of growing in a new way this time. But we're crushing it doing 6-figure months with a smaller team.
Okay.
And so that's what's interesting. If you build it out right, you can do the same numbers, but with a higher profit margin.
Yep.
If you have the right people.
Yeah.
And that sometimes is just because you have one bad apple in the bunch too. When I had those 9 sales guys, I had a couple bad apples in the bunch, and that just brings down the morale of everybody. The performance goes down. But if you have a team that's aligned morally, they're aligned with the culture, they're friends with each other, right? And they have the same vision with the company, and they see that there's room to grow, right? My vision's big enough for everybody to grow within it, right? So there's not a cap here, and everybody feels that. That's why they're excited to come in and work every day and crush it, and that's why we're shooting for the stars and doing great. So
got it. So, okay, you're doing $1 million a year.
Yep.
Let's go over marketing, sales, and then dispositions. So, like, we'll start with marketing. Like, how are you getting so many deals doing 6-figure months?
Yeah, so how I get so many deals is because I know a business to have success and to get a lot of deals, it comes with opportunity flow. You need to have a healthy opportunity flow, otherwise you are not going to have success, because you constantly have to be talking to more sellers, comping more properties, and making more offers. And if your lead source, your opportunity source dries up, that's going to halt your business, halt your growth, and you're not going to make a lot of money. So I like marketing channels that produce a lot of lead volume, being digital ads that are more affordable cost per lead. So Facebook ads I really like, but my bread and butter is cold calling. And the way I run cold calling is I don't really qualify the leads that much on the front end. And for example, like even if they're asking more than the Zillow's estimate, they can still send the lead in because the person is the right customer avatar. They're interested in a cash offer for their property. And that's all that matters to me. And a great example of this is I had a lady that my cold caller reached, and she said to the cold caller, "I'm driving right now, I'm busy, but I'm interested." And she hung up the phone.
Yeah.
But she said she was interested. So thank God they sent the lead through, and we wound up getting 4 properties from her and making over $200,000 from one seller. And all she said was, "I'm interested, I'm driving, gotta go."
Yeah.
So what if it was like we needed to get all our questions done and all that? I would have never got the lead. So I like to get just people that are interested in a cash offer, send those through. That's going to give my business a healthy amount of lead flow. Now, if there's a healthy amount of lead flow, that means my sales guys are going to be happy, because sales guys don't want to have nobody warm and nobody hot to call. They're sitting around calling old leads and trying to find something out of a bucket. That's not going to make them happy. Sales guys want to hunt, and they want to be talking to people that are fresh, ready to speak to them, ready to sell their house. So max lead flow, and then killer sales guys.
Yeah.
So that's the strategy there. So my 2 main marketings is digital ads and cold calling for marketing.
How many cold callers do you have?
Yeah, so I have 30 cold callers.
Damn, that's a lot of cold callers.
We just had a call the other day, and you're like, how many cold callers will it take to do $1 million a year?
Yeah.
And I'm like, 30.
And I was like,
least.
I thought 5. I was like, holy hell.
No, you need a lot of cold callers. Because with cold calling, a lot of gurus out there will say you can get 1 deal to 40 leads out of cold calling. But realistically, or some will say 1 deal to 25 leads on cold calling. Realistically, it's like 1 to 60. And then if you only...
That's still not bad.
Not bad. And then if you're not qualifying like as much and just accepting people that are interested in a cash offer, you're going to be 1 to 60 to 1 to 80. So
that's still not that bad. I thought it was like bad. 100 to 200.
No, yeah. Bad metrics is like 120 when you're getting up to like 120 leads per deal. That's kind of where you're starting to get in the danger zone of not converting well. But yeah, that's the thing. That's why I have 30 cold callers, and then I also do about $5-10 grand a month of digital ads.
How much does it cost to have 30 cold callers?
Yeah, so that's like 25 grand a month.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
For 30?
It'll cost you more.
That's with everything?
Yeah.
Including data?
That's with everything, including data, because I have a source of data called Cold Realty Resource, where you sign up for a yearly thing and you get unlimited data with phone numbers, so you don't got to pay for skip tracing and everything. But I have my cold callers working directly for me, because I own a call center called Launch VA, and they work directly for me, so I get them at a little bit of a better cost. But even with people that sign up for my call center that get that many callers, we give them a great hourly rate, so you're able to get 30 callers and be spending under 30 grand a month.
That's not bad.
Yeah, which is not bad. For some people, if you don't have the means to get them at a right price, it'll cost you over 30 grand a month, which is a lot.
So what KPIs do you like to hold your cold callers to?
Yeah, so we need 1 to 2 leads a day if they're working 40 hours a week. 1 to 2 leads a day minimum, and so that would mean 8 to 12 leads a week. But we're seeing our callers get 15 to 20 leads a week.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So one caller, 15 to 20 leads a week.
Is great, and then minimum you want to see 8 to 12.
And then from those 15 to 8, it would take you at least a month to get one deal for one cold caller.
Correct. So if you have 4 cold callers, you should be getting a contract signed every week at least.
Okay, so
that's
4
why-
cold callers, that's a sweet spot.
Yeah, if you have a little bit of money going, you always want to at least have 2 cold callers because the dialer actually runs faster having 2 callers. Now the reason why is because the dialer, it's called a drop call percentage, right? And a dialer calls 12 people at once. Well, depending on the dialer you use, Ready Mode is my favorite dialer.
Yeah,
and
we
it
use
calls
Ready Mode.
12 people at once is if you max out the speed. And so if you have 1 caller and 2 people out of 12 answer, it's going to drop one of those, and then it'll call it back. But because it knows it's going to be dropping calls, the dialer won't run at max speed because it knows it has no second person to feed a call to. So what I've noticed is if you have 2, you're going to generate so many more leads. So I always recommend if you do have the finances to do it, get 2 callers. And then 4, you're rocking and rolling. You're getting a deal a week, 4 contracts a month. That means you're closing 1 to 2 deals a month no matter what. You know, with fallout rate and everything. Because I always talk about you need a cushion to have consistency in this business. A cushion. So if 2 callers can get you 2 contracts a month, and maybe you'll close 1, so that's 1 deal a month. Let's make sure we at least do 1. So let's double the marketing. That's creating the cushion to create the consistency. 4 callers. Now we have the consistency to do 1 to 2 deals every month.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you're pumped. I'm pumped too. I'm freaking
pumped.
I should be tired, but I don't know why my energy is so high. I don't know if it's because of you, but all right. So you said 4 cold callers to average 1 deal a week.
Yes.
All right. We're gonna test this theory. Remember this.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna make a follow-up video. How soon should I make that follow-up video in order to make sure it's actually working?
I would give it 2 months, but you're going to crush it, so we'll check in a month. But I think 2 months guarantee you'll see the results.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how much is 8 callers going to cost?
8 callers, calculator?
Yeah.
8 callers will cost you about just under $6,000 a month.
Okay.
But I will hook you up at a better price.
Okay.
too, 'cause
And
I
the
got
listeners.
you. And the listeners. We'll do
Yeah.
something special for the listeners as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, but is that 5,700 including dialer
So
and
that-
everything?
We're going to need dialer as well. So
So it's going to be like 10K a month.
I get dialer at a discount for you too. So
How much is the dialer?
$150 a month. So
How much do
that's
we
another
usually pay?
$900.
$150 a month.
You
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Okay. Depending on if you get 8 seats, I may be able to do better for you too.
So it's $150 a month per seat?
per seat. Yeah.
Okay, so what is that?
So $900 bucks.
Okay,
a month.
900, so 150 times 8
So
plus the 5,700. What else am I going to need? So that's
That's it.
7,000.
That's it.
That's
You
it?
need data, but data, I'll help you out with data too.
I'm getting
good.
data right now from DataFlick. What do you think about them?
I don't know who they are.
Okay. Who do
Who
you
I use is DataSkip. Dataskip.io.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dataskip.io.
Is that
or
Kevin, the
Cole
Chinese
Realty
kid?
Resource. No, Mike Martinez owned
Oh, okay.
it. Yeah.
He sold it?
I don't know.
Okay.
He sold it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe he's selling it. Maybe
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, so $7,000 a month roughly, and
Does he get his data from LexisNexis? Do you know?
I
Oh.
don't think LexisNexis, but it's the best data I've seen
Okay.
so far. Yeah, it's super good. Well, because they run it through 3 skip tracers, so maybe one of them's LexisNexis.
Yeah.
But then I think another one is. I don't know, but they run it through 3,
First
so
American
that's
and
why
First
you
Title.
get why you get the best hit rate. Like, so maybe the first where they run it through the first, you get like an 80% hit rate, but then they run it through the 2 others for the ones that didn't get numbers for it, and then it can get up to like a 95% hit rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've seen is like what we've seen is when you skip trace data, let's say you get 8 numbers or whatever, usually the first 2 or 3 numbers we've seen is like the best, and then the rest are, we get way less response rate. Have you seen that also, or?
Yeah, so the first 3 you said, right?
Yeah, the first 3 numbers.
Yeah. Past the first 3 numbers, it's kind of a waste to try to contact them. Yeah.
What would you say is the minimum people should get if they're going to try to do cold calling?
Yeah, like if they're going to hire cold callers, the minimum, if they can't afford to get 2, if you can't, 1 is fine. You're still going to be able to get results. It's just the dialer might run a little bit slower. You may not get a lead every day, but you will get leads like every other day.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, though, even if you don't have the money to hire a cold caller, because to get one cold caller, you're looking at around $1,000 a month. So if you don't have that, the thing you can do, though, is at least get a dialer. For one dialer seat, it's no more than like $200.
Yeah.
A lot of people make the mistake of cold calling with their phone and hand dialing. The thing is, nobody's going to pick, a lot of people aren't going to pick up the phone, and you're going to be waiting to get somebody on the line, typing in the numbers. They don't answer, you're waiting. That's not going to work. That's why you need a dialer. Call 12 lines at a time. Somebody's going to answer. You're going to be talking to somebody live on the phone every 30 seconds. That's how you reach hundreds and thousands of homeowners, and that's how you get deals.
Yeah.
Got to be on a dialer.
Yeah. So a lot of people are going to say that cold calling's dead, that you should do mail, PPC, Facebook, you know,
so I think that
inbound.
was more being said like a year ago. And even I would say cold calling was harder a year ago. I think cold calling is right back to being amazing currently.
What changed?
There was a lot of restrictions that went into play like a year ago, so it was a lot harder to get through to the customer. As far as like connection rate with, a lot of the carriers were blocking spam calls way harder and all that. But the dialers, especially Ready Mode, did a lot of work to find solutions for that. So now Ready Mode is providing you with a lot of phone numbers with the dialer seat, so that way the numbers are alternating, so that way you don't get marked as spam as much, so that way you can actually get through to the consumer, get through to the customer. So I think cold calling is back to being great again. So
Okay.
Make America great again. Make cold
Did
calling
Trump
great
make
again.
it great again?
I think he might have.
Yeah.
I think he might have. Honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy because right after he won, everything started going up in our business, and I'm like, dude, like literally the week that he won,
Yep.
it was like, we're like, okay. well,
Everything's been going up in my business and in my life.
Yeah.
I can't deny it.
I can't deny it either, and it's not a joke.
It's not a political thing either.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm seeing it happen.
Yeah.
I'm not making it up.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Blessings are left and right.
Yeah, yeah. But okay, so what are your cold callers saying when they're cold calling?
Yeah, so our cold callers are saying, the thing about cold calling is the most important thing is going to be your intro, because if you can't get past the intro, you're not talking to anybody. It's like when you get a fish on the hook. You gotta crank the reel up in the air, the rod in the air to really get the hook in there. If you don't do that, you're going to lose the fish. Same thing with cold calling. So the intro is most important. People want to know 3 things when you cold call them. They want to know who you are, why you're calling, and why they should listen. And the second layer on top of that is we use 3 different tonalities. In the beginning, we use high enthusiasm. In the middle, we use like a monotone professionalism, like a really clear voice. And then the third tonality, we use a question tone at the end. And then the final piece on top of all that is we ask for a second of their time, because it's the shortest amount of time possible. Now what we're doing is, the computer is a brain. You know how a computer has a certain amount of RAM, memory processing power? It's similar to the brain. If you overwhelm the brain by telling them everything they want to know, the 3 things, who you are, why you're calling, and why they should listen, you overwhelm their brain with the 3 different tonalities, and you ask for the shortest amount of time, a second, their brain's going to cue, yes, now you have them. So that's what we do. And then from there, even if the caller isn't good, or even if the sales guy isn't good, what I've noticed is the seller's going to give you as much time as you need to talk to them once you get through that intro. It's usually the cold caller or the salesperson ending the call, making the call go to an end, rather than the seller, right? You are leading the call once you're past that intro. And so usually I've seen sales guys get all nervous and they hang it up because they don't know what to say. But the thing is, you can mess up on what you're going to say as long as you got into the call, because they're going to give you the time. It's called when you have them, you have them. That's what I like to say. When you have them, you have them, you have the customer. So mastering your intro is so important.
Got it.
So, hey, my name is Jacob from National Home Buyers. I'm calling to give you a cash offer for your property. Do you have a second? So I'm telling them who I am, why I'm calling. I'm telling them why they should listen. I'm going to give you a cash offer. I'm asking for a second of their time. Now, there is some sales trainers out there. I'm not going to name any names, but they say stuff like this. Hey, this is Jacob calling with National Home Buyers. I'm calling to give you a cash offer for your property. Is now a bad time to talk? Why would you say is now a bad time to talk? You know what that does? That gives them the exit sign right there.
Yeah.
Because it's giving them an exit to leave the call. I just said, is it a bad time? All you have to say is yes, it is a bad time. Whereas if I ask for a second of your time, all you have to do is say, that sounds short, and say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the key.
Got it. Okay. Where do you think the best cold callers come from?
I think the best cold callers come from Egypt and Mexico. Mexico first, Egypt second. Egypt, they're a little more consistent. They're both hard workers in Egypt and Mexico, but Egypt I think is a little more consistent. Philippines is good too though. Philippines works for me. When I got started in this business, I mainly only used Philippines. I still have Philippine callers to this day. But in the beginning, I only had Philippine callers, and it worked out great. Their accent isn't as good. Egypt and Mexico, especially Mexico, they sound like they're from the U.S.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are. Like a lot of my VAs that do more admin type work for my different businesses are in Mexico, and they went to high school here in Phoenix. So you couldn't even tell that they're a virtual assistant. So
oh, wow.
That's where I think the best callers are from. I love your podcast because you get really analytical too on the stuff.
For sure.
So everybody gets so much value from 100%. This. It's a masterclass.
It is. It is. That's why if you haven't subscribed, give the video a like, maybe comment, share. Because I feel like I used to watch other podcasts, and it's like it's just stories. And
all
like,
entertainment, no education.
Yeah. It's like, dude, I understand. Like, you know, they started off broke and then they made it. Like, I got it. Like, at some point, people need to learn the actual tactics of running a business. It can't be just like, I was broke and I lived with my mom and then I started wholesaling.
That's why I love your podcast too, because all the other podcasts I go on, I'm just telling the same story over and over and over again. With this, started out with the short story.
Yeah.
Here we go into the game. How it's done.
Yeah.
So I love it.
What about, is there a price difference between like Philippines, Mexico, and Egypt?
Yeah, so Mexico and Egypt are going to be a little bit more than Philippines, but not by much. We're talking maybe 50 cents an hour.
Oh, okay, really? I thought it was going to be like Philippines 3, Mexico 8, Egypt, I don't even know.
Not really.
No?
50 cents.
Got it. Okay, so when you are interviewing cold callers to work for you, what specifically do you look for?
So I haven't been doing that for a long time because I have managers in place doing that, but basically, when I hire them in Mexico, in certain towns in Mexico, it's really easy because pretty much the main work they do out there, like one of the main jobs is telemarketing. And so most of them have worked on a real estate telemarketing campaign before. So it's like, hey, how long have you done cold calling for? Okay, great, 8 years, cool. Okay, how long have you done a real estate campaign for? 1 year? Okay, cool, you're hired.
Oh, really? That's it.
And here's the thing. The cost of a cold caller is so inexpensive that let them run for a week or two and then determine are they good or not. It's different than hiring somebody in office that's going to be $2,000 a month and wasting $2,000 a month. Whereas you can waste $400 testing them out for a couple weeks. You see? So as long as they've had experience, they're good to go. If they've never had experience, then that interview needs to be longer, right? You need to run through some scripts, some role playing with them, for sure. And then another thing that we always do, we've added this on because I've hired people where they didn't have a stutter talking face-to-face, but then when they got on the phone, they were nervous and the stutter showed through. And it's unfortunate because it's like, damn, bro, I'm sorry, you know, that's happening, and you're able to work through it. I've had team members where we've resolved it by just kind of killing the nerves. But so what we do now to try to avoid that is we give a list of tongue twisters in the interview. So they got to read me like Peter picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Really?
Yeah, to make sure they aren't going to stutter under the pressure.
You know what's crazy?
Isn't that funny?
It is. I just had Josiah Grimes on.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm obsessed with like hiring right now because if you make the right hire, that is huge. Like, usually it's not like, oh, a marketing thing or this thing. It's like you're one hire away from literally having the business you want. So I asked him, I was like, they Sub2, their ecosystem does $100 million a year and they have a big operation. So I was like, what do you do to hire good people? So he gives them like EQ tests, and then he'll teach them something and then ask them to tell him what he just taught them to see like how quickly they can retain information. And it sounds very like a little bit different, but similar to what you're doing, where you're like testing. Where before I was just doing like personality tests and kind of like a vibe check.
I don't like the personality test.
Yeah.
I never got it much from it because you can basically cheat on it and try to be the right person on it. But vibe check's key. Vibe check is so key for hiring salespeople. And then what I do is it's no longer just me and the sales guy sitting in a room and me interviewing them. I always have one of my main sales guys sit in with me. They really don't say much. They just listen. Then after the interview's done, I walk them through the office and I have them not just like say, hey, what's up? I have them talk for like a couple minutes with every single person on the team. And then when they leave, I go to each of my sales guys and I go, what did you think? And I go, not just like, he's cool. What did you think? Like, break it down for me. Like, could you be friends with him? You think he's a good fit? Do you think he's going to have the same problems that you had when you got started? Like, what challenges do you think he's going to have? Like, give me the real. Yeah. And so I get the vibe check from everybody, because what I've noticed is somebody can show up for an interview and they can put on a complete front. Oh, yeah. And then they are a totally different person a week in or two, even a day in. Just like, who is this guy? Yeah. Right? So, and the thing is too, when they're meeting each person, I'm not there. So somebody can act different with each type of person too. And then it's like, who is this person really? So, because people can be chameleons, and then they're not the right fit. So I love that though. Teaching them something and then have them explain it back, that's really good too. Yeah. What
about, I do want to talk about like sales team, but we'll just stick to marketing. Like when the VAs are putting leads into your CRM, are they just saying, hey, do you want to sell? Yes, perfect. Phone number, name, address, sales guy takes over.
So we're getting, are you interested in a cash offer? We're getting phone, name, email.
They already have that though, right?
All that. Yeah. Yep, we're confirming that though, making sure. And then we're also making sure, is this a landline or a cell phone? If it's a landline, we then ask for cell phone. That's key too. But then we're getting, what's your timeline? Yeah. What's the reason you want to sell? Asking price. How much do you want?
What if they're like, make me an offer? Well, sorry, keep finishing your list.
Yeah, you're good. How much do you want, right? And then what's the condition of the property? Just to generalize, what's the condition? Yeah. So that's all the questions. Yeah. That's all we need on the front end. And if they're like, what do you want? How much do you want? Or if they're like, make me an offer right now, then basically it'll be like, I'm going to make you an offer. I have a couple more questions. They continue their questions and then they say, okay, somebody's going to call you back with an offer. So it's gaslighting them though, because if you go on the cold call and you go, I can't make you the offer, it's somebody else, and you're going to need to get another call, they're going to click. So why not just be like, I'm going to give you the offer, just 1 second, let me finish these questions, and then get all the info, and then reveal to them that you are not going to be making it, somebody's going to call them back.
And then you submit all of that.
Submit all that into your CRM, and then from there, there's 5 questions the sales guys ask. And you only need to ask these 5 questions to know whether the property needs a full remodel, no remodel, or total or a medium remodel, right? So you need to know, how old is the roof, how old is the AC, what type of countertops do you have in the kitchen, okay? And you want to be asking direct questions, otherwise you're not going to get direct answers. And we want to know exactly what we're asking. So ask direct questions to get direct answers. So what type of countertops? Are they granite or are they like laminate? So if they're granite, quartz or marble, it's modern, right? It's redone. But if they're laminate or formica, probably outdated, right? Yeah. The next question is, what color are the cabinets? Are they a wood color or are they painted? You see, it's the way we're asking is we're prompting to get a direct answer. If the cabinets are like white, it's probably updated. If they're wood, maybe outdated. But maybe if they're like a stained wood or like something like they're like a craftsman or custom, maybe it is nice. So that's how you kind of figure that out. Next question is, what type of flooring do you have throughout the property? If they say tile, okay, what size tiles? Are they 12 by 12 or are they bigger tiles? 12 by 12 is probably outdated. 20 by 20, 16 by 16, probably more updated or modern wood look tiles.
Yeah.
So like that. And then final question is, have you done any remodeling in the past 5 years? That's all. And then you can throw one more on there, any major foundation or plumbing or electrical issues. And with those questions, that's it. Now we know what the property needs. And from there, try to pull out their asking price. And then from there, we make them an offer.
Got it. Okay. Anything else you think on cold calling that we haven't covered?
No, I think we covered the intro, how important that is. And then we covered the questions to ask on the cold call. That's pretty much it. That's the whole script right there. It's intro, few questions, and there you go.
Yeah. Okay, actually there's something that I do want to talk about. Okay, so let's transition to acquisitions.
Okay,
right.
sales.
The sweet science of acquisitions.
Yeah.
I have been contemplating, and we're actually going to do it, we're going to bring on a lead manager that's a VA.
Uh-huh.
To flirt with the possible idea of having a VA closer. Have you ever tried that?
So I did do it when I had an office in Mexico. I since closed that office and everybody works from home. If they're out of the country, they work from home. If they're in the country, they work here. I don't do any virtual people in the US. They all got to be here in the Scottsdale office. But it didn't work great for me. Did I test it for long enough? No. But can it work? Yes. And has it worked for people that I'm friends with? Yes. But are they doing it anymore? The answer is no. Because it's gotten harder to wholesale. It was easy to do virtual acquisition manager, VA acquisition managers during the hedge fund thing, because basically if the Zillow was 400K, lock it up at 380, a hedge fund will pay you 400 even if it needs a remodel.
Yeah.
Basically anybody could do that.
Yeah.
Right? A kid could make the call and do it.
Yeah.
So that's why it was easy to do that. But now, I don't know. You can try it if your VA is really good. Like I have, like some of the people that help me run some of my businesses that have perfect English, they went to high school out here. I could probably have them do it, and they were doing it in the past. If I signed them up for it again and really trained them on it, they could probably do it.
Yeah,
So-
I just wonder if it's a training problem because...
Training.
Yeah.
If you have the right person. If they're not in office, it's tough. You need to make sure. So there's something called Kumo spaces, and basically it's an office like this, but virtual. And basically you can walk around in Kumo spaces, and there could be an office right over there, and you can click on it, jump into somebody's office and start talking to them. Then go walk over to the other side of the office, jump into their office, start talking to them. So you can run a virtual office called Kumo spaces, and that would be key to making it work. Because people need assistance, and you can jump in their office screen and then click Zoom, screen shares, but it's like as if they're here. I think that's important with comp. You know how tough it is to analyze and comp property.
Yeah.
And even once you get good at comping, like I'm great at analyzing property and making offers.
We would just have to be
Does that mean
quick.
I still don't have my dispo guy or one of my other sales guys give me a second opinion on a deal that I'm about to lock up? Hey, bro, do you think this is good? This price? Like that's all day, every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting a second opinion. So
Actually, I do want to come back to that later because we actually do the same thing. But yeah, I'm contemplating it because like salespeople are expensive.
I'm hiring commission only, man.
Yeah, well, my people are commission only unless I believe in them in the beginning and I will give them a short run rate. But yeah, I'm just looking at the profitability of wholesaling. I feel like it's getting more condensed and more condensed and more condensed. And then I'm like, okay, if I don't have to pay 20%, off every deal, like our VAs, so we have 2 VAs right now that are managing, that are doing lead management for us, right? We were paying Americans to do that for 10%, 7 or 10%, 7%, and they're doing it for $3 an hour. Like $500 a month.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's...
Yeah, I get it.
And they're doing the same exact. The performance of the lead management role hasn't dropped.
Are they closing or just like warming stuff up and passing?
They're warming stuff up and
so
passing.
That's good. Warming up and passing is great, but to have all of your closers be virtual, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to switch to all virtual, but I think we're going to bring on one closer and really try to pour into them. Yeah. And actually, like, because what we used to do before is like, we need cold callers. Bam, they're in. now like, okay, like actually do the whole interview process,
Yeah.
like really try. Because I think if we can, that just makes the profitability of the company.
The question to consider with that, though, is how much longer is it going to take for them to perform versus if you had somebody in your office, right? How much longer is it going to take to train, right? So is there diminishing returns there?
It depends on the hire. Because
Right.
what if I hire someone whose IQ is high?
Yeah.
They have sales, and a lot of these guys have like you said, they have real estate experience.
Right.
Like I've met a lot of these VAs that just have bounced around.
Yeah.
Wholesalers come up, they go away, they go this, they go that. So
I think it can work.
we're gonna see. That's another test.
Yeah.
Come back in 60 days and we will let you know.
The main thing is just make sure your business is at a 50% profit margin.
Yeah.
And then you're good. Like
Yeah.
if you're paying,
Well, it also depends
even
though.
if you're paying 20% commission, but your other expenses aren't more than 30%, you're still at a 50% profit margin.
Well, my business is a little bit different because I have Justin. So Justin runs the day to day.
Yeah.
I'm not like doing everything day to day. You know what I'm saying? So if I was gonna sit there and do everything, yeah, we'd be at like a 60 to 75%.
So you pay Justin quite a bit.
Yeah, Justin
like
gets paid a lot.
equity share
Yeah, he gets
percentage.
equity share. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And it's worth it because he's
yeah,
awesome.
it is worth it. I mean, I'm still looking for.
He's here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I refuse to do it again where it's like I'm the guy. So I've had different.
So I think if you can get a really good dispo guy, then I'm still involved, but really not. My business pretty much runs itself.
Yeah.
Because my dispo guy, because he started off as acquisitions for 3 years with me. So he knows that whole side of the business.
Yeah.
And then now he knows the whole dispo side of the business. So he knows dealing with title, dealing with sellers,
Yeah,
dealing with
pushing,
buyers.
transaction
He
coordinating.
knows the whole acquisition side. So now they all go to him before they go to me.
Yeah.
So there's like layers.
Yeah.
But I'm still looking for my Justin though. I need
Yeah.
a Justin.
Yeah.
And I would give a Justin a percentage of my
Yeah.
top line revenue because then I could screw off and not be here.
Yeah.
But no, pretty much everything runs, and I have other businesses that I run that I'm like way more focused on right now
Yeah.
in a building season in those
Exactly. Yeah.
than the real estate business, and it's running. And I also told you I'm going to move to California for most of the summer, so that's going to be my big test. So here's
Yeah.
my test, right? You're doing
Yeah.
tests. My test is I'm going to leave my business for 2 to 3 months.
This is gonna be so funny if it cuts back later. It's like, I'm sorry guys, he closed his business. There's actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave my business completely.
Hell
Goodbye.
yeah.
And I'm gonna check in. They can call me a bit, but not much because I'm gonna be in California chilling on the beach every day
With your girlfriend.
with my girlfriend. And we'll see if my business runs, and we'll see if I get wealthier or if I get bored.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Why doesn't this dispo guy just be your Justin?
Not sure that I don't think he has that personality type. I don't think he has the leader part.
Yeah. Justin's a good leader. Justin's a better leader than me. I am like guys, like I literally told you this like 50 times. Like why are we? Justin be like, oh man, it's okay. Like he'll sit there and like.
So yeah, I don't think.
And they all love him, and they all will work for him and freaking ride or die for him because he's so freaking nice. He's a great leader.
Yeah, no, you have good energy, Justin. So yeah, with him, he's analytical type. So he struggled at sales at first because he couldn't apply pressure on sellers, and he wasn't really that sales guy. So I had to mold him into that because he's more an analytical type. But for that, what that means is he's great at answering questions and he's great at solving problems. But as far as leading people and telling people what to do and that stuff, it's not it. So that's why.
Do you think it would be better to mold him in those things or hire someone new? Because what I've seen in running an education business and in real estate, anytime I've literally went out of the company and brought someone in that didn't it's hard to know. It's hard to be like, hey, manage a sales team and do dispositions and transaction coordinate and be a good leader.
And a lot of people have failed at popping somebody in. It just doesn't work out. So I assume Justin you didn't just pick him up and put him in his role.
I've known Justin for years.
Company.
Yeah.
Right. So everybody in here knows that I'm looking for somebody to grow into that role.
Yeah.
So who it's for the taking. Who wants it? That's what I'm looking for, and they all know that. So, but that's why I need to keep hiring. That's why I need to keep getting rid of the B players, keep bringing in more A players, because one A player is going to take that opportunity, and they're going to run my whole business for me.
So let's talk about hiring salespeople. So what is your process for hiring acquisition people?
So I hire people through Indeed or through my social media or through like referrals through friends and family. And my process is this. I don't call people and interview them. First, they have to submit a 60-second or longer video explaining why they're a good fit. If they can't speak clearly and convey themselves well on a video under the pressure, then they're already not going to be a good guy on the phone. So let's say I get 100 videos. Probably out of 10, I'll call 10 of the 100 video applications.
Have you get that many applications?
I used to. It's been a little bit slower. People don't want to work no more. People don't, I don't know what it is. COVID, the
real estate
checks, whatever.
It's real estate. I think real estate is compressing.
Yeah, people don't want to work, but a lot of people can't even talk or communicate these days because they're all in their phone. They don't know any social skills. It's really actually sad, like the fact that how people can't present themselves well. But so I save my time by only calling 3. Now, when I call them, it's only going to be a 3 to 5 minute phone call where I build off of their video a little bit, and then once I feel like they're right, I say, okay, that's good for this call. Let's bring you in, then in-person interview. Because there's no point in talking over the phone. I can't see you. I don't really know who you are. I can't get a read on you. So that's how I qualify them to come in here, and then we chop it up in here. I do what I said, how I have them meet with everybody for a vibe check and do the tongue twister, and then they're hired. And that's my process.
So our process right now is we put out ads or I post on social media. I'll kind of do we'll do like a soft call or like a little communication like, hey, what experience do you have? If they're like, okay, they have some sales experience, maybe they were in real estate or whatever the case may be, we bring them in. Our new process is if they have no real estate experience and they don't have specific experience that's comparable to doing acquisitions, we just don't hire them.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually I hire people off of who they are, not their experience at all. I'd rather them be a blank sheet, a shell, so I can mold them into what.
I don't.
Because if they have real estate experience and sales experience, I've noticed they're stuck in their ways. Sales experience is good, not real estate sales experience. I don't want real estate sales experience at all. I don't want any real estate sales experience.
It's like mainly sales, and I just prefer they just know something. Because
most of the guys have watched stuff about wholesaling on YouTube. That's good. But like as far as them doing it themselves, or the worst hires are ones that have worked for another wholesale company. Never do it. And that's the worst.
So anyway, so that's what we look for. We bring them in. And then there's a new thing that I've been doing. So I literally write on the board. I'm like, hey, Jacob, all right, listen. Everything looks great. This is how it's going to work, right? It takes 60 to 90 days usually to close your first deal. So that means for the first 30 to 60 days, you're probably not going to make any money. There's a possibility that you could get a contract, because we've had people get contracts their first week and get lucky, but it takes 60 to 90 days. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Okay, can you withhold for 60 to 90 days without potentially making a paycheck? Because some people start, and then within 2 weeks, they're like, hey man, like, this isn't gonna work. And I'm like, bro, I literally told you that. So I just wanna make sure, are you comfortable with this?
100%.
Okay, got it. Okay, after you get ramped up, you have to get 1 contract per week. And that's like a sellable contract. That's not just like a whatever, right?
Yep.
So just so you know, Jacob, because I don't know how familiar you are with real estate, you know, this is not like Keller Williams where there's 90 agents but only 2 produce. Everyone here is a high producer. So you have to be willing to put in the work and be in that environment where it's high pressure. You know, there's standards. Are you comfortable with that?
I am.
Yeah, got it. Okay, perfect. So once you get ramped up, you have to do 1 contract per week, and we want you to make 50 dials a day. So you're going to be calling 50 people every single day. Do you think you could do that?
I can do that.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we want you to do calls for like an hour, see our CRM, and just make sure you feel comfortable doing all this, okay?
Sweet.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Like, we just go through that.
Qualifying like that is good.
Yeah. And I write it out.
The expectation.
Yeah.
I don't write it out, but I set the same expectation because there's other companies out there that are like selling a dream.
Oh, yeah.
And then just trying to get them in there, and that creates a lot of churn.
Oh, for sure. I don't want that.
And especially if you're commission only.
And I don't want to play with people's lives either. Like, I'm not like, God, Jacob, you can come in here, you can make $100K your first year. Are you down? Okay, be in here.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh crap.
People try to move from other states to here. I will never, ever, ever let anybody move states to work here because I have no idea whether it's going to work out. Like I said, people be different after a week, 2 weeks. It's just people just be different, man.
Yeah.
Be different. So, I never have people move, and I always set that expectation. And I always check in with people's financial situation and their living situation and their bills. Like, dude, can you survive? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And so most of my hires, they had a job, they were moved out, but now they're living back at home with their parents. They're trying to find their next big opportunity. They're hungry, and I hire them. Right now, my pot of gold is solar salespeople or pest control people.
Because they're used to grinding.
Solar has really shitty training. They literally have no training. You literally like go on a ride along and then
they kick you out. They're like, get out of there and make something of yourself.
Go knock.
Yeah.
And they're setters for the closers for like 5 months before they can even become a closer. The fallout rate on solar is like 70%. So these guys are tired of it. A lot of solar companies are literally like picking up people like off the street, like people that literally are like homeless people. In town, there's one solar company. One of my guys just came from there. He wanted to leave because they literally started hiring homeless people to door knock.
Dang.
But the company then has meetings every week of like motivation and rah-rah.
I know.
But then there's like people that totally don't meet the company culture.
I know.
So it's like
sales training is hard.
So then when I tell these guys that when I tell these solars guys our sales training has gotten so good that you'll get your first contract signed probably in your first week. My two most recent hires Colton got his first deal in 4 days. Ian got his first deal in 6 days.
Yeah.
Now, when I first started in this business hiring people, it took them 2 months to get their first deal because my training wasn't good. But my training's so good now. So when solar people hear they're gonna have results that quick, when they hear that there's gonna be a structured training process, they love that. And when they hear that our fallout rate is 10 to 20% compared to 70%, they love that.
On their contracts or their employment?
On fallout rate on deals closing. On contracts. They love to hear that, and then they love to hear that they no longer they don't have to start as a setter. They are a closer.
Oh, you just start them on closers.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your training process? And then I want to ask you about key performance indicators on new hires. I just don't want to forget those two things.
So my training process is I actually do prior training before they even get in here on their first day. So that way we can hit the ground running. So prior training, there's a bunch of sales training videos that I've filmed and that also like car dealerships give. They give out these videos.
Is that Andy Elliott's videos?
No, it's John Martinez. Have you heard of John Martinez?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's this John Martinez course videos that they go through, and then there's questions. I also have a Jordan Belfort sales straight line theory sales training program that they go through, and then they go through videos that I made, and they listen to call recordings that I've made. They go through all that, take notes on a paper packet that they have to print out. This is all before they start. So now they have all this knowledge. We're ready to hit the ground running day one. Now,
how long does that take them, the pre?
Depends how fast, 4 to 8 hours of work I'd say it is.
Oh, okay.
So if I hire them on a Friday, they can be ready by Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you want it to not be more than like 3 days of work.
Yeah.
And then also, like if they're going to be if you see they fill out a whole paper packet like they're back in school, you know they really want the job. But then once they start, you got to make it not like school anymore so then they don't hate what they do. Like make them think they're going to hate it because you're making them do school. But then once they get here, make them love it, basically.
Yeah.
But train them up is the goal. So now we get to when they're actually here. It's a 3-day training packet, paper packet again. Step 1 is a quiz on the information. that they did the prior training on, so that way we quiz to make sure they actually did it. And I tell them it's not a serious quiz, just fill it out the best you can. It's just to get us conversating about stuff. Quiz. Next, we jump into all screen share videos of every system we use, CRM, phone system, how to send contracts, everything, so they know all of our systems and processes.
Who does all this?
I made all these videos.
Oh, so they just watch it on their own.
They watch it on their own. Then from there, they have sales sheets. So our sales process that's printed out, our script, full form script. We have a long form script that includes novation they read. We have how to explain the process to seller. We have objections and rebuttals. We have a acquisitions, key tips and talking points, paperwork. You can see it all right here. Guy's starting tomorrow, new guy Alex. On his desk, there's all these papers.
Can I grab it?
Yeah, you can grab it.
I'm gonna grab this sheet, dude.
So yeah, that's the paperwork that they read.
Damn,
so I call it the sales training sheets. They read that, and then they go to lunch. So they read all that, and then they go to lunch. So that's the packet, and then those are all the...
Acquisition day 1, day 2, day 3.
Yep.
You have a schedule. You have questions on
The quiz.
the videos, John Martinez, whatever. A bunch of questions. Yeah, so they have to literally watch because there's a lot of questions.
And then there's end of day.
What did you learn about building rapport? The price calculator, comping platform. What did you learn about Podio? Dang. That's a lot.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Then you give them your sales process, fine.
Yep. So our sales process has a few steps. It's intro, fact find, building rapport, and then it's pulling out asking price, negotiating, going for the close.
Offer close.
Yep.
These very similar. I don't even know what that is.
And then this is
you
the
give them a
intro.
script.
So I mentioned how important the intro is. We have a whole paper explaining everything I just explained earlier in this when we were talking about cold calling about the intro. And then we even highlight on here the tonalities, so that way they have a tonality key.
Then you have objections, explaining how the process works to the seller. This is good, dude. I've never seen this. This is great.
Yeah, real deal. Right?
Yeah.
Real company, real deal. So, real company, real deal, man. Brick and mortar business. A lot of people are out here running a wholesale business or running a business, but they're running it from their laptop in their closet or some shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I've really built out a real company. Our training is dialed in. That's how they're able to get a deal in 4 days. Yeah.
Okay, so what have you seen from the people that make it versus the people that don't make it?
The people that make it versus the people that don't make it. The people that don't make it, they have a social issue. They have a nervous issue. Those are primarily the people that don't make it. The reason why is they can read the script all they want, but then there's a part of game theory and strategy that comes with it. And when they're so nervous or when they have social issues a bit, they can't separate themselves from just reading off the script to actually being methodical about how they're going to close a deal, right? We have to be hunting and we have to be closing. I've never had anybody that's not willing to make the calls because literally we have such a fun environment here. We give you a tour of the office. Like, we have a gym in here. Everybody's friends. Like, it's not like coming and sitting and doing a 9 to 5. Like, I've managed to build a good company culture. Most of the people I hire are around my age, so we're all around the same age. It used to be like a frat house in here, to be honest, a couple years ago, but now it's like, I've grown up. I'm a better leader now. It's more dialed in. But like, people love to work here, so they're willing to do the work. What I've noticed is when somebody is so good, to get them to keep cranking when they've already got a lot locked up is tough, because you'll go to them and you'll be like, bro, you're not making enough calls. And they're like, I've already made 40 today, bro, and I got 2 contracts. It's like, okay, man, but you got 2 contracts. But remember what you told me when we brought you onto the company, that you were trying to reach for greatness, right? You had all these goals. You want to make $100,000 a year. You want this new car. You want to move out. You want to save up money so you can buy a house and then start a family. Like, I have to remind them of their whole reasons why they're doing this in the first place. Yeah. That's the only way to get them to keep grinding. Because they'll literally, their response always, their objection to make more calls is always, I just got 2 deals today already, bro. Yeah. And I'm like, and my rebuttal is like, man, think about the big picture.
Yeah. What do you think as far as, what's like the average age of your salesperson?
Right now it's like 23.
Yeah, so like I
It
have
used
this,
to be like 20.
yeah, I'm always like telling Justin, I'm like, dude, we need young guys in here that are just like hungry and you know, ready to roll, because I've noticed like older people, you know, I'm still willing to interview them, and I've given a lot of people shots, but a lot of the times they're rather like so stuck in their ways, or they're looking for like a comfy job where they can kind of like work 20 to 30% of the time, and then that's it.
Yeah, so
Especially if they came from corporation.
Yeah, hiring older people never worked out for me. I had a guy that was like 50, and I hired him, and number one, it was hard to be in charge of him because I'm so young, so it really didn't work that way. But even if I was older, it wouldn't have worked because he made 11 calls in 2 weeks.
Dang.
And this was like years ago at my first office. So I fired him, and during his 2 weeks, he brought a thing of Folgers coffee, right?
Yeah.
For the office. He was like, here, guys, I got coffee for us. Yay, right?
Yeah.
So I fired him. Bro was so mad that 1 week later, he calls me all mad saying, I'm coming to get my $5 Folgers coffee bucket.
Yeah.
And he storms in the office, opens the kitchen cabinet, grabs this Folgers coffee, and he's like, see you guys. I didn't need it here anyways, or whatever. Yeah. So older people's never worked.
Yeah.
But my oldest guy is 30 now, and he's got 2 kids too, so he's got to earn a lot. That's
he's
why
still
he's
young.
like one of my best producers, because
Yeah.
he's got to make money, man.
Yeah.
But he started with me when he was 26, or maybe 25. So he was still pretty young. So I think my oldest hire actually now is Ian, that I just hired. He's 27. But he had been applying for 4 years.
Oh, dang.
But his videos weren't ever good enough for me to call him. So, but this most recent video was he hit the mark to get a call, and I brought him in.
Yeah.
And that's how you know this is like his dream job. He tells me almost every day.
Dang.
Thanks for bringing me in. So
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, 27, 30. Sean is 24. Spencer's 24. Colton's 23, and I'm 22.
Dang.
Yeah.
Damn, you're 22?
Yeah,
I didn't know you were
22.
22. Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about leadership. You know, I feel like from the I think last year we saw you, and I feel like you've already grown since then. So like, how have you grown in the last year with your leadership?
Yeah, I'm always trying to grow in every way, shape, and form. That's my number one goal every day. Money aside, as long as I'm growing as a person, that's going to be, the money will follow, right? So your income's never going to outgrow your personal development. So that's been key. For me, what's really helped me be better is going through hard stuff in life. I've had shit happen in business and stuff. It's tough. And that's really made me grow and age a lot. I feel like I'm 40, but I'm 22. But it's really bad. My back hurts too, just so you know. It does. Sometimes I can't walk. Like, I'll pull my back out and shit. I'm kidding. But it's bad, bro.
Yeah.
The stress, man. It's heavy running a business. Yeah. But I've also gotten better with the boundaries and stuff to get rid of stress. And then I've also done a lot of things like life coaches and things to grow. You know, and that's helped me become a better leader as well. But the main thing that's helped me become a better leader is doing hard shit. And for me, I used to be a really skinny kid and stuff, so I put on a lot of weight in the gym. I gained like 30 pounds in the gym.
Okay.
And so been really consistent with that. I'm down a little weight right now. I got up to like 160. I weigh like 150 now.
Damn.
But being really consistent with that, and like, the thing is, if you have like a bigger presence too, you'll be a better leader.
Okay.
So,
you just do push-ups and you'll be a better leader.
So that helped.
Yeah.
But then also like fucking up in my life.
Yeah.
Screwing up and doing dumb shit, like whether it was with girls or whether it was with partying or shit. And I never really got into much of that because before I got into real estate, I was a bad teenager. I did a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
Like I kind of got it out of my system, and that's why I'm so like dedicated to work and everything. And I have no distractions, and I don't blow my money because I kind of got it all out of my system when I was younger. But now, like, making mistakes or watching other employees make mistakes kind of made me make this shift where I was like, you know, I don't really think any of that stuff's cool. And that's not going to be our culture here. Like talking about cheating on your girl or talking about, oh, I fucking did all this crazy shit the past weekend.
No.
None of that's for this office. So I've killed all that, got rid of people because of that. And then even like I've had sales guys that I've brought back onto the company because they wanted to work again. But the first conversation I had before even entertaining an interview or them coming back was, hey, bro, like we're grown now. We're grown up now. Like that stuff doesn't fly here anymore. That's not what we're doing. So I don't know.
A boundary.
Essentially, what it was. It's a lot of things that made me a better leader. Bad stuff happening and dealing with business stuff, doing hard things and trying to grow personally in the gym. More with my faith too, and making sure I'm on the straight and narrow, and making sure we're all following that too. It's just been this whole shift that's helped a lot. Plus, I also know who I am more now. It's hard to be a leader when you're 16, 17 years old when I'm finding myself.
Of course,
And I'm still finding myself because I'm only 22, but I really know more who I am now. And I also know I'm the real deal. I know I'm successful. I know what I'm talking about. I know I'm an expert in this business. So that comes across to the team now too. So they take me seriously. So I think more than anything, it was just some type of shift, but then also just growing up and then building up my experience and wisdom. Yeah,
I think it's weird because I don't get stressed like that. Why do you think you have like stress like that?
I think I'm naturally born more on the stress side. My mom's really like that. My video guy's laughing. Yeah. Well, my mom, when she calls, no matter what it is, the world's ending.
I know.
And you can hear it. The world is, like, everybody around me is like, holy shit, every time your mom calls, the world's ending.
Yeah.
So I think it's in my blood. So I'm trying to rewire that.
You can get rid of that.
Yeah. Through faith.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could pray and get rid of that. Because I feel like I used to be stressed. And then after I got like really deep, then now it's just like Philippians 4:16, it says, do not be anxious about anything, but with prayer and petition, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. I read that so many times, like, do not be anxious about anything. Do not be anxious about anything. Do not be anxious about anything. So now, when maybe I am feeling a little anxious, I'm like, why am I feeling anxious? And then where does that come from?
Yeah.
Does that come from God? Is God like, hey, I'm going to give you this like anxiety? Yeah. For me, that was key. Now, even I haven't talked about this in a long time because I got rid of it. But even recognizing like, oh, this is not from God. This feeling is not from God. Just identifying that makes it like, okay, like where is this coming from? Right. And am I going to fall for the same stupid trick? Like, I remember when I was going to sociology class, and I was talking to one of my classmates, and there was like, they were talking about monkeys.
Yeah.
And they were like, let's just say, just for the sake of example, there's a cap here, right?
Yeah.
They would go like this with the monkey. Like, they would open it, and the cap would be there. And then they would close it, and they would open it. And when they would do something where the cap would be gone, and they'd open it, and then the monkey would start freaking out. And they're like, oh my God, like the monkey would start tripping out because it was something unexpected.
Yeah.
And like humans are the same way where like if someone cuts you off and you're like, oh, or like someone says something and it triggers you, or something unexpected happens, it just triggers you. It's almost just like basic psychology where it's like, oh, just take a second, like, does this really matter? Yeah. Is this deal like actually gonna matter at the end of the, is this person that came and grabbed the coffee like at the end of the day, is it? Right. And I always look at like psychology wise, imagine, you know, on the road of entrepreneurship, if every speed bump you just stopped.
Yeah.
That would be crazy, right? No, you just go over the damn speed bump. But like as entrepreneurs, sometimes we're just like, fuck man, there's so many damn speed bumps. It's like, hey, well, that's life.
Yeah, that's what you signed up for.
Yeah, that's what you signed up for.
Yeah, man, the faith and building my relationship with God has been, like, out of anything, that's shown the most results, I guess, in helping my stress, helping my anxiety, helping my worries. Yeah. And I notice when I get get away from it, and I feel like I'm being heard less by God because I got further away.
Yeah.
There's a lot more worry and there's a lot more of that. But when I'm close in communication with him and I'm feeling like I'm being heard and whatnot, it's a lot better. So I'm young though too. I'm trying to find myself and figure it all out. So I'm just trying to stay consistent on that and really dive into that. And that's been helpful. But yeah, I think I'm lean more towards being wired that way. But yeah, dude, I do everything to try to work on my stress, and I'm way better than I used to be. Yeah. Like Derek, my video guy knows.
You were
way
stressed
better.
before?
Oh yeah, since he's filmed with me since I was 16 years old, and man, I have like OCD too. I'm like a micromanager. Yeah. If something's not right or whatever, or perfect, or if somebody moves something or whatever, I'm like wigging out. Now I could care less about a lot of stuff that I used to care a lot about. So it's a work in progress. But realistically, like financially, I've made it in a way. Like I could take everything I have and invest it properly and retire. So at the end of the day, as long as I protect what I have, I'm good. Yeah. So I gotta stop fighting like as if I have nothing, but also be motivated as if I have nothing, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like if
How
that
much
makes
do you
sense,
have that you feel like you don't have to, like you're set?
I don't want to say, but it's in the millions, and if you are in the millions and you invest it properly and get 10% a year, you're good. Yeah. That's enough every month to live.
Yeah, depending on lifestyle. Yep. So like as Christians, we are called to, give our life to Christ, and then that means become more like Christ. Yeah. So like also what I think about is when I'm doing things, I'm like, would Jesus literally act like this? Like, that's where like, what would Jesus do? Yeah. So would Jesus be like, man, like this freaking sales guy or blah, 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 or da, 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 or would Jesus freaking, you got
to be coming from like a divine place, like the Holy Spirit.
Exactly. You can't do it. Yeah. That's why the Holy Spirit can clean this stress level from you. And it's really good that you're doing this young, because like a lot of people, once they get to 30, 40, they're not going to be able to break it. It's too hard.
Ingrained in. Yeah. So you recently got baptized and everything, right? So when did you really get more into your faith? A couple of years ago?
Literally 2 years ago.
And before then you were
I was like just living my life. Yep, I was stressed out. I was watching porn. I was addicted to smoking weed at times. I was like I was like crazy about money, stressed out controller, but I was successful, so I thought it was justified. And then once I got saved, then I'm like, oh, these are strongholds that are like, you actually don't need it, but you get so used to it.
You don't have to live that way.
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, exactly. So
it's really a choice.
It is a choice. It is a choice, but it's hard when you try to do it yourself.
Yeah, you can't.
Instead of like being like, God, take this away from me, and like going through the steps to get it taken away, I was struggling with something that I was just like, why can't it just go away? Yeah. Like, and again, it sometimes, like it says, like sometimes bad habits are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be taken off, or something like that. I probably butchered it, but like it's only like even like your diet, your stress level, your sex habits, like, it might not be porn. It might be just sleeping around. It might be sleeping with your girlfriend that you're not supposed to be sleeping with. It might be whatever the case may be, looking at girls inappropriately. Like, all these little things matter, and like it's important to give it to Jesus so that way it could just get broken off of you instead of it slowly spiraling. Because what I see when there's people who are stressed out, anxious, and they don't have Jesus, I know they're taking that stress out on something else. Yeah. Even if they don't say it, I've called it out with people all the time. They're like, hella stressed out. I'm like, what are you doing to relieve the stress? Are you doing blah, 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 blah? And they're like, and I'm 100%. Like, how else do you get it off of you?
Yeah. The thing is, God wants you to give it to him. Yeah. He's asking for you he wants you to talk to him. Yeah. He wants you to take the burden you have and say, God, help me with this. He wants that. He wants you to come to him and build that relationship. Yeah. And so for me, I had a challenge in business that was extremely stressful. Won't get into it, but I felt like my mind, I'm very good at multitasking, and my brain can churn fast.
Yeah.
I can do a lot of things, but I literally felt like, for a lack of better words, I felt like my mind was disabled. Like I was moving at a slower pace. I couldn't get as much work done. Too much going on would get me overwhelmed, where like it was like freeze mode. Like I was frozen and like I couldn't manage everything happening, and I was never like this before. So I would pray all the time, God, give me a renewal of my mind and my spirit. God, give me a renewal of my mind and my spirit. The repetition and continuing. Bro, God has completely renewed my mind.
Yeah.
And I was...
Transform your mind.
He's transformed my mind and given me a new mind. Like it was... Through all the stress and everything, it really took a toll.
Yeah.
And he renewed my mind, my spirit, my body, everything, and I'm just so grateful. God's the greatest. And so, yeah, man, I'm young, but I'm learning, growing, and pouring into my faith. It means the world to me. And I think I love this podcast with you, dude, because we get into the faith.
Yeah.
We get into the business strategy. We get analytical with it. We give actionable information. We give the entertainment with the stories of the guy with the coffee that I fired at my company. The guy that's hitting you up at 7 o'clock at night. Your tire getting popped on the way here.
What about,
what a good podcast.
Last topic.
Yeah.
Do you have a spiritual mentor?
So I actually did have a spiritual mentor that I was going to for a little while.
Like a Christian mentor. Actually, I shouldn't even say spiritual. Like a Christian
his name
mentor.
is Evan Lemkill.
Oh,
and he's with something ministries. And I went for a while. But now my girlfriend's Catholic. And so
I just had Voice of Reason on.
Through that, I've been learning a lot and growing. So.
So I think that's really good too that your girlfriend's Christian and that you guys get on the same page with that before getting married or having children or stuff like that, because that will be huge.
And she protects me spiritually, always praying for me, and I do think that that's part of the reason why a lot of blessings have been coming to my life.
100%.
She's always speaking to God for me, and we pray together all the time. So it's great.
I think that's good. Are you guys going to get married?
We'll see. You know, God has the cards in store, right? So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think
she would say the same thing. If God wants to bless it for our love to grow, then he shall. Yeah. And if not, then that's what's in his plans.
Yeah, I think this is great. So, I mean, I wish we can go longer, but we got to go. So, if people want to find you and reach out to you, where do they go?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube, Jacob Blank, Instagram, it's all Jacob Blank, and then jacobblank.com is the easiest place to go, jacobblank.com.
There you go. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, peace.